Okay, that was the button I was looking for. Okay, folks, let's call the meeting to order. Welcome to the monthly meeting of NPU-F. It looks like we have definitely achieved a quorum. Today is November the 19th. It's about 7:04 p.m. My name is Tom Schwab. I am the vice chair of NPU-F. I'm also the alcohol licensing chair. I'll be your meeting host this evening. I want to thank Kay Stevenson also for agreeing to co-host tonight. Our chair, of course, is Debbie Shopchinsky. Catherine King is our secretary. She's going to be taking minutes for us tonight. In addition, as a reminder, we are recording this meeting as well. Kay Stevenson and Susan Canellis are our public safety co-chairs. Wiley Somerville is our zoning chair. Rich Sussman is Parks, Trees, and Environment chair. Marla Johnson is the communication chair. Jason Holmes is the education chair. And Katie DeWeeves handles the Atlanta Plana Advisory Board. She's our APAB rep. And of course, Doug Young is our friendly neighborhood City of Atlanta planner. So as I mentioned on the agendas, we have two agendas. We've got the full agenda. That's everything we're going to talk about tonight. And then we have a subset of that we call the consent agenda. And those are usually matters that are a little more simple. We group those together. We usually vote on those as a bundle without a lot of discussion. So if you're here for an application and we don't cover you on the consent agenda, don't panic. More than likely, we're going to get to you when we go to the full agenda. So if you're here for, let's see, and everything's in the chat now. And by the way, Marla has posted the full agenda to the website as well. So there's several things we're going to be voting on tonight. In addition to applications, we're going to be voting on our officers and committee chairs tonight. So as a reminder, anyone that's a resident of NPU-F may vote unless you have a financial interest in a particular application, but you can still vote on all the other ones. If you're not an NPU resident, but you're a business owner, you may vote if you've met the requirements as described in our bylaws. And you can find all the voting rules at the bottom of that full agenda I mentioned. We'd ask that you please refrain from voting if you don't live or own property or you have a business within NPU-F. When we vote, we're going to use the raise your hand feature. I'll talk more about that in a minute. But during the meeting, we use Robert's Rules of Order as our parliamentary guide, but we take a somewhat relaxed view. So for most routine matters, I'm simply going to ask if there are any objections or for unanimous consent. But when a motion is requested, I'm going to recognize the first two people that speak up, the person that makes the motion and then the person that seconds it. This is the only exception to speaking up without raising your hand first. And again, I'll talk more about how to do that in just a minute. So let's get into a quick refresher of Zoom. Obviously, most of you know the basics that you're here, you were able to log in, but let me just talk about a couple of our key features we're going to use tonight. The participant list, that's a list of everybody that's here in the meeting. Your name should appear at the top of that list. We'd ask if there's more than one person using a device, you get, let's say, two people sharing a computer. We want to put both of your names into that participant list. So that's especially important when we're voting. We need to count, both of those votes. So if you need to change your name, go up in the participant list, click More next to your name to the right, and you'll see an option to rename yourself. Likewise, if somebody else's name happens to be in your window, please correct that. Because if you're logged in on multiple devices, we won't be able to count either of those votes. So we just want your name once in each in the chat window. Let's see. The mute button, probably the most common forgotten feature of Zoom. That looks like a little microphone. You should see it down in the lower left of your screen. It's usually also next to your name in the participant list, depending on what version of Zoom you're using. You want to stay muted unless you're actively speaking and after you've been called upon. I've talked about the raise your hand feature. You'll find that under the reaction tab. So at the bottom of the screen, you may have a reaction or react button. If you click in there, you should see raise your hand within that. We're going to use that feature anytime we're voting or anytime you have a question or a comment, you're going to use that raise your hand feature. And I would caution you to make sure you use the right button. Sometimes people get the clappy hands or the thumbs up by mistake, and those features go away after a couple of seconds. So you'd either lose your place in line or your vote wouldn't count if you clicked the wrong button. So under that reaction tab, look for the raise your hand button. Okay, once you raise your hand, I'll call on the speakers in the order that you raise your hand. So, stay in the queue. And if you're here presenting tonight, we would ask you to turn your camera on while you're presenting. Reason being, we need to know that the person presenting or representing an application is actually that person. So please make sure your camera's on if you're here to present an application. If you want to turn it off afterwards, that's fine. Some people may be phoning in tonight, not actually on Zoom. If you do that and you can hear my voice and you want to raise your hand, press *9 on your phone. That will raise your hand virtually, and I will see it at my end of my screen. Likewise, if you're phoning in and you're going to be muted, so you're going to need to press *6 to unmute your phone, and then *6 to remute it. And that, of course, is in addition to any mute feature that your phone might have on its home screen. The last feature of Zoom I'll talk about is the chat. And again, great place to send messages. You can do that to everybody or just one particular individual. As I mentioned, I posted the agendas, meeting minutes in the chat. Quite often tonight, you'll want contact information. So if you're here representing the city department, great place to put your contact information so people can find you. You don't really need to read it out loud. Just put it in the chat. So at the end of the night, if you want to save that information, you want to save the chat, look for three little dots in the upper right hand of the chat window. That'll give you the option to save all the text in the chat. It will not save the attachments. So if there's an agenda or a presentation you want to save, make sure you download that and save that to your hard drive separate. But remember to save the chat at the end of the meeting if you want to preserve this wonderful dialogue for prosperity. Okay, a little bit on our meeting protocols. So again, please try to keep your questions and comments germane to the topic at hand. If you have a random thought, you can put a note in the chat and somebody will either try to answer it in that forum or we'll try to circle it back in the conversation when it's the appropriate time. Likewise, if it doesn't fit there, you can always bring it up under new business, which I think is item number 12 on the agenda. We'd ask you to please be respectful of everybody here. We're all neighbors. Some of the applications and things that we're voting on can drive passion within people. That's good. But if that passion gets morphed into snarky or sarcastic comments, we don't want that. So please try to refrain from that, and I'll endeavor to do the same. If you do speak up and have a question, we're going to ask you to only speak once or ask one question on a topic, unless we ask for clarification from your previous remarks. And we're also going to limit you to 2 minutes each if you're raising a question in the interest of time and fairness to everyone else here. So it might be a good idea if you have a question already in mind or something you want to ask about to write down your thoughts in advance now so you can kind of succinctly get to your salient points so we don't have to run the risk of cutting anyone off shy. And likewise, if we're picking up a lot of background noise or there's individuals that are continuously interrupting or hogging the floors, we may need to mute you in that case. But again, we don't want to do that. Okay, I guess the key thing here tonight is to speak up, is what I'm saying. If you have any questions, we want to hear your voice. That's the whole purpose of the NPU, is to have your voice get in the city government and the city government to communicate back out to you. So we want to hear from you, regardless of what side of an issue you're on, whether you're for it or you're opposed to it. Please speak up. Don't be shy. But as I said, try to be brief. I will say that all the comments in the chat get sent into the city for review. So it's a great place to send a message there. And if I am moving too quickly, I tend to talk rather quickly. Please raise your hand, ask me to slow down or repeat something or explain where we are in the process if you're not following along. The last thought I'd leave you with in my opening comments is that your voice really counts here at the NPU. But as a reminder, all the decisions we make, all the votes we take are only recommendations. We send those to the city, and the final decisions are made by either city boards or city administrators or the city council. So it's important to express your opinions here tonight, but I would also encourage you to express your opinions directly to those other bodies I mentioned, whether you do that in writing or with phone calls or appearing at a public hearing for comment. All great additional ways to get your voice heard in addition to the NPU. So don't be discouraged if we vote a certain way and the city ruling doesn't go in line with that. It's important to give notice that NPU is paying attention and they have your voice heard. Okay. From there, we will move on to the good stuff. Our first order of business tonight is to adopt the agenda. As I've mentioned, it's been posted in the chat. And again, exciting agenda tonight, and that we'll be holding our NPU-F elections on that agenda. So let me ask, are there any additions to tonight's agenda? All right, I'm not seeing any. Are there any objections to adopting tonight's agenda? If you have any objections, please raise your hand. Okay, seeing none, the agenda is hereby adopted without objection. Okay, second order of business on that agenda is to approve the meeting minutes from last month's meeting. So the October minutes are also posted in the chat. And I want to thank Catherine King for taking the time to get those all documented and cleaned up for us, and Marla for posting them to the NPU website. So can I have a motion to adopt last month's minutes?
So moved.
Second.
Richard
All right,
first,
I
Kay
heard
second.
Kay and Rich. So we'll give Kay the first, Rich the second. Is there any objections to the motion to adopt the minutes? Anyone that objects, raise your hand. Seeing none, the motion carries without objection. The minutes of last month are official. Okay, moving on. Item number 3 on our agenda. I have a couple of announcements. I guess first of all, we talked about this each month, but the main elections, of course, are over for the city, but we still have runoffs coming up in early December. So as a reminder, campaigning at the NPU meetings is strictly prohibited by city code. So if you're an elected official, please don't introduce yourself as a candidate for an upcoming election. That includes, drill, displaying buttons, banners, signs, distributing campaign materials, of course. You need to refrain from that. But of course, that does not count for the NPU officer elections that we'll be discussing a little bit later in our agenda. Also, community impact grants. Again, these are funded by the city's planning department. They assist the NPUs for the purposes of neighborhood beautification, engagement and awareness, and community building. The 2025 grants are being closed out, so I think everyone's turned in your receipts, but if you haven't turned everything in, please send them in to ideally to Debbie, but you can send them to me as well. I'll make sure Debbie gets them so we can close everything out for 2025. And for next year, 2026, on Wednesday, December 3rd, there'll be an informative session with the city for community impact grants. If you're interested in that, you want to apply for a grant, you can reach out to me. I can give you the specifics, but basically it's Wednesday, December 3rd at 6 p.m. It's going to be via Zoom to give you more information about how to apply for a grant for next year. Okay, we also have a couple of races coming up. I'll tell you about real quickly. We will not be voting on these, but just for informative purposes, we've got the Invesco QQQ Thanksgiving Day Half Marathon. It's also a 5K, a mile, and a dash. This is going to be Thursday, November 27th, so Thanksgiving Day. It's going to be at the Center Park Stadium, which is on Hank Aaron Drive, but it runs up through Piedmont Park and down Park Drive, so it goes through our NPU. If you want more information on that, you can contact the Atlanta Track Club. Another race coming on is the White Elephant 5K. It's also a 10K and a half marathon. This one's going to be in December, on the 13th of December. They're going to meet at New Realm Brewery on the East Side Beltline. And that runs up through the Beltline, again, up through Piedmont Park and beyond, so coming through our NPU. You can contact Lowell Star if you want more information about that. Okay, that's it for my announcements. So from there, let's move on to agenda item number 4, which are reports from the city departments. We usually start with the fire department. Who's on from either Station 19 or 29? Let me see. Is Captain Harris with us? Battalion Chief Martin? Anyone on from Atlanta Fire Department? All right, I'm not seeing anyone, so why don't we skip the fire department and go to the APD? How about
Good evening, Captain Knapp from Zone 2, Assistant Commander. Right
welcome,
now,
Captain.
yes, sir. How are you? Right now, the
Wonderful. And
city is
yourself?
sitting at Go ahead, sir. I'm sorry.
Oh, I just was asking how you are. What would you like
I'm
to report with us tonight?
so just a little touch on some things. The city right now is negative 9% year to date compared to last year. Zone two itself is actually down 13%. We would be in a much better spot if our property crimes weren't driving our crime. Our violent crime is down year to date. Person shot is down well over 41%. So we know we have an issue with the shoplifting coming from our retail locations. We're finding out that the security guards there are allowing the shoplifting to occur, allowing the persons to leave, and then calling 911. So we're taking reports on things that we probably are in the area and can apprehend the suspect. So the word is getting out. We're in shopping season with Christmas around the corner. So we've upped our presence in these retail locations. That is part of our holiday plan. But we will continue to hit this area to strive to protect the property.
Okay, great. Any questions for Captain Knapp? No? All right. Nice job, Captain. Thank you. How about Zone 6? Anyone on from Zone 6?
Lieutenant Carroll, Zone 6. Can I jump on in just a second? I'm on another meeting.
Sure, Lieutenant. We'll skip you and come back to you in just a minute here. All right. How about why don't we move ahead to APD code enforcement? Who's on from code enforcement? Maybe Officer Williams?
Hello, this
Hello,
Officer AJ
officer.
Williams. This Officer AJ Williams with APD Code Enforcement. How are you all tonight?
Fine, fine. What would you like to share with us tonight?
Good to hear. Just giving you guys an update. Also, I'm sorry, I put my email and phone number in a chat. If anyone have any questions or concern that you don't have in mind right now, maybe later you can give me a call or send an email. Just give me an update on with NPU tonight, just an update on the active cases. Currently, we have about 45 open cases pertaining to property maintenance, and maybe I think four highly hazardous cases at this time.
Okay. All right, thank you. Any questions for code enforcement? Anything for Officer William? Questions on code enforcement or any of the cases? No?
Okay, again, information is in the chat if you all have any questions or concerns.
All right, I appreciate that, Officer Williams. Thank you for being here.
You're welcome.
All right, moving on. I see Tamika Merriweather is with us. How about Atlanta 311?
Good evening. Good evening. My name is Tamika Clark Merriweather. I am your 311 ambassador. I am here to assist with any non-emergency reporting that may be needed to be reported, and any challenges for the city. Of course, you know, we're here Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to midnight, and you can reach us through dialing 311. You can email us at atl311 at Atlanta, spelled out ga.gov. You can chat with us at atl311.com or submit online. You can also download the mobile app. And then last but not least, you can take a picture or send comments and at us on social media, hashtag ATL311. We recently had some changes to our queue or our map. So when you call in, you will be prompted to choose one for Spanish and then two for E911. Supportive Services, who is also open Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to midnight, they've moved to option 3 by themselves. Before we were together when you press option 3. Now you have to press option 4, and then you'll be prompted for each individual department. So if you wanted to speak to Watershed, when you call 311, you now have to press 4 and then press 1 for Watershed. Public Works 4, and then press 2, so on and so forth.
Okay.
With that being said, I open the floor for any questions or concerns. and I'll be happy to assist.
Any questions for 311? Other than their new menu, phone menu?
We're trying to keep down the traffic,
I
so.
gotcha. All right, Vicky Davis, do you have a question? Oh, Vicky, I saw your hand up. It looks like you dropped it.
Oh, I'm sorry. I had myself on mute.
No worries. What would you like to ask 311?
I just wonder if you have any information on the status of the water situation. The smell and the taste is really low quality, undrinkable. I know it's been all over the news.
Yes. So, from what I understand, there is no change other than a flux in a natural component that's in the river. So they're still treating it the same. They're still dispensing it the same, but I forgot the word that they use. It's supposed to be like a higher um I want to say algae, but I don't want to say algae. But it's
I think you're
something
right.
Probably,
I
that's
think you're right.
probably
naturally
not the
in the
best
water.
word to use. Yeah.
Right, right. It's something that's a higher component, like with the environmental change that's happened, is a higher component in there. So they're still treating it as they usually do with the proper chemicals and stuff. It's just that influx has caused somewhat of what I've noticed in my reporting a change. I'll try to find it and put it in the chat so I can put proper words to it because I see it in my head, but I can't find it. But give me a moment and I'll put it in the chat for you.
Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you, Tamika.
You're welcome.
Any other questions for 311? Okay, so why don't we move on then to Public Works Code Enforcement? Is Officer Spurlock with us possibly? Or anyone from Public Works? All right, we'll move on. Lieutenant
Officer
Carroll with
Spurlock
OP.
is signed
I'm
on.
sorry. I'm sorry. I'm here. I'm sorry. Good
Oh,
evening,
okay.
everyone. Good evening, everyone. Sweet Officer Spurlock here with the Department of Public Works. This month for NPU, um, Thanksgiving is around the corner, so you will have a delay in service for Thanksgiving. Also, it is leaf season. I've been driving around NPU-F a lot these past weeks, and just please make sure that you're having your garden men and your people that are doing your grass to put leaves in brown paper bags and don't just leave them on the curb for the crew to pick up because they've been pretty negligent with that. So please make sure that you're placing your yard trimmings in brown paper bags. Lastly, been a lot of unscheduled bulk on the right of way. So please make sure that you're contacting ATL 311 before you place the bulk on the right of way. You could receive a citation for placing the bulk before it's scheduled. So I'll open the floor for any questions, comments, or concerns.
Yeah, Officer Spurlock, I learned something. I learned that every third Saturday of the month there's a Atlanta Recycling Day at Greenbrier Mall where you can get rid of documents or what electronics and things like that. Is that goes on every
Yes,
week,
sir.
every month?
Yes, sir. And also, I believe on the 31st of this month at Greenbrier Mall, if there are any tire shops on here, that you can bring your tires to be dumped there as well.
Oh, excellent. Good to know.
Yes, sir.
Do a little fall cleaning for everybody.
Tom, there was also a question in the chat from Mr. Brown that wanted to speak about an issue with the DPW.
Okay. Mr. Brown, are you with us?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can. Do you have a question
How
for?
you doing? I was recommended to, partnership with you guys. Because I live in Lenox Green condominiums on the corner of on the Lenox Road, where Lenox Road and Buford Highway, intersects. So
Uh-huh.
if you are familiar with that corner, November 24, I just started just getting involved. Being a spokesperson for the community to discuss. That corner, which is, really unsightly. Believe it got code violations attached to it. There's a lot of debris, a lot of, um, there's a fire hydrant that's resting on a pole. There's dead trees, tree limbs, and it just really needs to be cleaned up. Not even so much as beautification, but for just safety and just for to make it on code. And I had boots on the ground from Department of Public Works. I had been in contact with Ms. Royster from the Department of Public Works. Miss Al Good, she just came out this weekend, and we did a walkthrough and took pictures. And I've been doing this as a one man operation. To that I need help because I haven't I haven't gotten off home plate. I feel like or on first base since I started this initiative. So I'm just trying to. And they people kept telling me reach out to your NPUs because they can help you. And so I'm just looking and searching for anybody that can help me with putting this into place. And it just seems like it's just like it's kicking a can down the road, and the buck being passed, and I just feel like I'm just not really getting much headway. And I'm gonna keep fighting until it's and until something is done. And in that corner is, as you can know, I came up I've been living here since '05, and I call this area a BB, which is a abbreviation that I created. Is called Barely Buckhead. And, yeah, and yeah.
We'll take that as a compliment, I think.
No. I would like to see the southern part of Buckhead, consistent with, the rest of the parts of Buckhead. And as you know what I'm saying, it's been
Yeah.
really neglected. It's by Cheshire Bridge. They're working on the trail there. It's an opening there, and right now I tell people if that trail from Lindbergh, goes in there, people will turn around and go back the other way. It's just a really,
Yeah.
that area in general, but that corner in particular, like, it should reflect, like what's across the street at Lennox Point, the businesses across the street from the condos. And if you know what I'm talking about, sir, do you familiar with the corner I'm talking about? Of Lennox Road and Buford Highway, right there in the corner,
I mean,
the sports facility.
yeah, I mean, I'm familiar with that corner, and I did want to say thank you for your efforts, Mr. Brown, as far as kind of leading the charge here to help get that corner cleaned up. But I think, are you directing that to Officer Spurlock with the
I'm
public?
directed to anybody that that falls under their authority or jurisdiction, and what they do. Like whoever that may apply to, I would like to reach out to, have a conversation and network and partnership with them, and to help this become a reality. The more I'm invested into it, the more I'm not going to give up on it. And it just seems like it's like the buck just being passed. I'm just being honest. And
I appreciate that comment. Officer Spurlock, did you put your contact information in the chat?
Yes, sir. I put it in there, but I'll also put it in there again. What I can do tomorrow, sir, I will go over to Buford Highway and Lennox Parkway, and I can send you some pictures of what it currently looks like, and so you can tell me specifically what you want done in that area, and then we'll try to get you some resolve that way.
is it possible we could meet? On a boots
Yes,
on.
sir. I'm free. I'm free anytime. So
Can I get your number? I can take it down right now.
yes, sir. 470-755-5253. Again, 470-755-5253. And I get to work at 7 a.m. So you can call me at any time.
Yeah. I work in the school system, so
Okay.
so I'm off after 4. I don't know if every time I talk to someone, no one's available.
Yes, sir. We're gone at 3:30. So
Right. So that's what I'm hearing. So
yes, sir.
so anyway, weekends and any flexibility, any way. We're off all next week for Thanksgiving break because I'm on the school calendar. So maybe we could meet
Okay.
one day next week.
Yes, sir. Because we'll be at work. So yes, sir. You can call me anytime, but I'll still go over there tomorrow and do an investigation to figure out what we can do to help you.
And they put straws on there. First time in years, they actually put
Okay.
straws on there. I believe to try to camouflage,
Gotcha.
some of the unsightly things over there. But
Okay.
you can do
Yes,
that.
sir.
All
I
right.
still
Well,
like
Mr.
to
Brown,
read-
thank you for raising that issue, and thank you for, like I said, leading the charge, kind of trying to get that cleaned up. And Officer Spurlock, thanks in advance for your effort to work together. Sounds
Thank
like you two guys have each other's contact information,
Yes.
so maybe you can take that to the next step.
Okay.
And Mr. Brown, if you're not getting, the response you need, please come back next month, and we'll try to reinvigorate it again. But Officer Spurlock's pretty good about following up, so I'm sure
Thank
you're in
you. The
good
only
hands.
thing I like to say is I wish I had joined joined these Zoom calls 11 months ago.
Well, you're more than welcome. We do this every the third Wednesday of every month, so hopefully you can be
And
with
I
again.
thank Mary Norwood too for encouraging me to get involved with NPUs as well. So
Excellent, excellent.
thank you.
Okay, well, thank you. Any other comments, questions for code enforcement? Okay, let's see, Lieutenant Carroll with APD Zone 6. Are you off the other call?
Yes, sir. I'm here. Sorry about that. I
Oh, no
apologize.
problem.
Sometimes I'm just trying to multitask. So our current 30-day period, we're at 33 theft from motor vehicles. We have 10 motor vehicle thefts, and we have 9 burglaries. And I expect that to keep going down with the cold weather as we move on into December. I know it's been kind of unseasonably warm lately. Do y'all have any questions, concerns for Zone 6?
Any questions, Zone 6? Lieutenant Carroll. Yeah, Kay.
Yeah, it's kind of occurred to me when the commander from Zone 2 was talking about the shoplifting and the security guards not reporting it until after the fact. We have a chronic problem here where we've got an officer going to CVS on North Highland about twice a week after management and the staff have allowed somebody to walk out the door and watched them walk out the door. Is there anything that APD can do about that? Because it seems like such a waste of your resource.
I have a few theories about that. Now, I've been to that CVS a bunch of times. I know exactly where you're talking about. I've been there before. It wasn't recently, but in the past couple of years, I actually went by there and met with the manager to see what we could do about shoplifting there. And unfortunately, I think they really don't want to call the police. And a lot of times their store policy don't allow them to, run after the person that's shoplifting, or maybe, their store policy doesn't want them to call the police, or maybe they have a certain threshold before they call us out there. But if they call 911, I mean, we still go. I mean, we're always going to go if there's a 911 call there.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. You're welcome.
All right. Any other questions for Lieutenant Carroll or APD Zone 6? All right. I'm not seeing any, Lieutenant, but thank you for being here.
Yes, sir. You're quite welcome. Thank you.
All righty. Why don't we move on? How about Parks and Rec? Anyone on from Parks and Recreation? No? How about Watershed Management? Aisha Brown, perhaps? Watershed Management? No? Okay. Let's see. The city solicitor. I think I see Janelle Bowles there.
Good evening, everyone. Hope you are well. Happy Wednesday.
Same to
I
you.
saw some of you all in court. I was pleasantly surprised to see some members from NPU-F in court for court hearings. So I'm glad
Which side of the row were they on?
they were all being arrested.
They
No, I'm kidding.
Hopefully they were in the visiting section.
Yeah, no, they were the visitors. They were there to provide feedback. I think some very powerful and helpful feedback for the judge as he was considering how he should rule. I think that matter was reset and they may have to appear again. But as we've said before, the input from the community is helpful.
Yeah. Because
the judges and even sometimes our office, we don't have boots on the ground or eyes to see or hear or witness everything. So that was very, very helpful.
Was this a particular hearing, a particular issue, the Happy Hermans, or to recall what
I think Marla was there and Mr. Sussman was there. I don't remember the case.
That's okay.
It was the 3 blighted properties on the corner of Cheshire Bridge and La Vista and Lindbergh. The Happy Hermans Ace Hardware dry cleaners.
That's what I figured.
Yeah, and the judge sites really did appreciate the neighbors that came out, and we the owner of those three properties was fined like 14,000 something dollars, but more importantly, the judge imposed a timeline for demolition of those buildings. So
Right.
one of them is supposed to be demolished, I think by December 16th. Don't quote me on this. Don't put it in the minutes. Um, Another one, I think like first week of January. And then the third one has to be brought into compliance. That one is like one building that sits on two different lots owned by two different property owners. So fingers crossed that the buildings come down when they're supposed to.
All right. Well, thank you
Yeah.
for attending, Marla.
Yes, and thank you to Janelle. She's been so helpful.
Excellent. Excellent. All right.
So
Anything else for the,
make sure everyone contacts my office. Let my boss know that I'm doing a stand-up job even in the nighttime, right? So, we're working on like Christmas bonuses or whatever may be available for the city. So yeah. No, but I'll put my contact information in the chat.
all right. I'll
Just
tell you
let me
what, Ms.
know.
Bowles, you've been doing such a great job. I'm going to split my NPU Christmas bonus with you. You get half
Okay,
of
that
it.
sounds great. That sounds great. I'm here for it. I
Put
mean,
your
except
boss's information in the chat too.
except that I can't accept any gifts. So I was just kidding.
Well, that's good because I don't get a bonus or any pay either. So we're all set. Rich, did you have a question?
Not a question, but the judge said that the owner of the property has to come back on January 7th to follow up so that the court will have an understanding of what has or has not been done on the property. So there will be a follow-up hearing on January 7th. And I certainly hope that the members of the community will again assist Ms. Bowles in her arguments.
Oh, that's great. And thank you, Rich, as well for attending. And they always say the difference between a dream and a plan is the timeline. So I'm glad the judge put some hard dates out there.
Yeah.
Okay, anything else for Ms. Bowles or the city solicitor's office? All right, well, thank you for being here.
All right, thank you.
And then we'll move on to our friendly neighborhood ombudsman, Mr. Mitchell.
Good evening, everyone. Glad to be here. Tom, I was going to say, hey, you needed to spread the love out some more with that bonus. So
you can have the other half of my bonus, Clyde. How about that?
Oh, but that's okay. Ms. Bowles said that we cannot share in that, but she does such an awesome job. So look, everyone, of course, my name is Clyde Mitchell. I'm your friendly neighborhood relationship manager out of the Ombuds office. As you know, please continue, and I'm going to say that, continue to be in touch with our office when we can help you surface concerns that you have in the community. We will put you in touch with certain departments. We will, of course, we will mediate situations. We will resolve outstanding constituent problems that have not been cured by departments. Of course, when you do have an issue, you do send it to me and spend some time. Make sure you have the case number, or in some cases, case numbers, because you have tried for so long to get things resolved, and we will escalate that situation or those situations for you. The more we introduce ourselves to other communities, the more that come in, and it is a pleasure that we're able to service our constituents. Tom, that's all I have. I'm open for any questions.
All right. Any questions for Mr. Mitchell, Office of the Ombudsman? Well, that's a good sign, Clyde. The city must be getting things done.
Well, hopefully, but thank you, guys. I appreciate you all.
All right. Thank you for being here. Okay. Did I miss any city departments? I think I covered them all. Did I miss any other city departments? No? Okay. So now we will move on to elected officials. Why don't we start with Zone 6? I did not see, is Alex with us? No, I'm not seeing Alex here. How about District 2 or District 5? No? Okay. How about any of the council people at large? Any councilmen or women at large? No, all right. How about the state level? State rep, Stacey Evans? All right. Nope. All righty. I think that covers our elected officials. Now that the bulk of the elections are over, they're probably all getting their rest, I imagine. Okay. So that concludes our elected officials. Let us move on now to our consent agenda, item number 6. Again, I have posted this in the chat. So we've got a couple of things on the agenda tonight. Let's start with our special events, our Mayor's Office of Special Events. The first is the Virginia Highland Mardi Gras Festival. This is a new event. It's going on in basically in the heart of Virginia Highlands. It wants to be on February 7th. It's going to be a Class D event. But Virginia Highlands wanted a little more time, the Virginia Highlands Civic Association, to work this one. So we worked it out in advance with the promoter, Premier Events, along with the Virginia Highland District, who's sponsoring this event, to postpone this discussion for a month. So our consent recommendation on this one is to defer until next month. And again, all the parties are on board with that deferral. Next up is 404 Day. This wants to be on April 4th of next year. It's in Piedmont Park. It's a Class E event, which means just under 2,000 employees. Is Randall Fox with us tonight? Mr. Fox or someone representing the 404 Day? Going once, going twice. Okay, I am going to remove 404 from consent. Okay. Moving on. The last special office events on the consent agenda is the Smart BTA Stop the Violence Community Fair. Now, we've actually seen this one a couple times at the NPU. We approved this back in July, and then we had the first amendment of this went through, and we approved that in September. So this is the second amendment. It simply changes the new event date and a rain date. So again, the applicant does not need to be here for this, but it is in Piedmont Park at the Meadow on August 26th of next year. Class E event, 700 participants. So we are recommending approval of that amendment to change the dates. Okay, so those are the consent items for the special Office of Special Events. How about our variances? Wiley, do you want to briefly run through the 4 variances we have on consent?
Sure thing. First, we have one from Lindridge Martin Manor, V25-198, applicant seeking a variance for a special exception from the zoning ordinance to reduce half-depth front yard from 17.5 to 2 feet and allow active recreation in yards adjacent to the street. This was supported by Lindridge Martin Manor and unanimously supported. So recommendation is to approve. Next, we have V25-215, again in Lindridge Martin Manor. Applicant seeks a variance from the zoning ordinance to reduce the west side yard from the required 7 feet to 0 feet. The association voted to approve unanimously. So our recommendation is to approve. Next, V25-224, applicant seeks the variance to reduce the front yard setback from 35 feet to 30 feet 2 inches. This is Virginia Highland. Site visit conducted, no neighbor opposition, and voted unanimously to approve. And so we support that. Next is V25-231 in MLPA. Applicants a variance to reduce the rear yard setback from 15 feet to 8 feet and to reduce the east yard setback from 7 feet to 4 feet. Again, site visit conducted, no neighbor opposition, and voted to unanimously support. So we do likewise.
All right, Wiley, we just need to make sure that each of those applicants is here tonight.
Okay, so V25-198, Malante Drive. Are you here?
Yes, I'm here, Jim Hildebrand.
Okay. Strathmore Drive Northeast, Lindridge Martin Manor.
Yes, Bruce Meller, I'm here.
Check. 986 Rosedale Road, Northeast.
Nina Gentry is the applicant. I'm here.
Great. And then 12222 University Drive, MLPA.
I'm the applicant there as well, Wiley, and I'm
Nina?
here, and also the homeowner is here.
I'm here as well.
Great.
Thanks.
All right, great. Then you check all the boxes to stay on the consent agenda.
All righty. Thank you, Wiley. Rich, did you have a question before we
No.
proceed?
Everything's fine.
No, okay, great. Okay, so with that said, I am going to remove 404 day from the consent agenda. Is there anyone here who is in opposition to any of the recommendations, or anyone here who wants to have an application that we just briefly touched on removed from the consent agenda so we can discuss it at its regular place on the agenda? Anyone that wants anything removed? Okay, so can I have a motion to approve the recommendations as stated on the consent agenda with the noted exception of removal of 404 day?
So moved.
So moved.
Thank you, Rich. Wiley, are you seconding?
All second.
All right, so now we're going to use our voting buttons. All those in favor of approving the recommendations on the consent agenda with the removal of 404, please raise your hands now. Again, it's under that React tab at the bottom of your screen. You'll see the raise your hand button.
If you have a financial interest in any of the applications, you may not vote.
Good call. Thank you, Rich. Appreciate that reminder. Okay. I am counting 9. 9 in favor of the consent agenda. I'm lowering your hands. Any opposed? I doubt so, because we've already asked for that, but anyone opposed to the consent agenda? Raise your hand. I'm not seeing any. So by a count of 9-0, the consent agenda recommendations are being passed on to the city with the exclusion of 404 day.
Thank you for your
Alrighty.
support.
I'm sorry?
I said thank you for your support.
Oh, no problem, Nina. Thank you for being here.
Y'all have a good evening.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Alrighty. Let me just take care of one quick housekeeping issue here. Oops. Bear with me here. Okay. Okay, that concludes the consent agenda. So now we'll move on to our matters for voting. Let me get the right screen up for that. Okay, gang. So tonight is a little unusual. We've got an extra matter for voting on tonight, which are the annual NPU-F elections. I know all of our incumbents are just giddy with excitement over the prospect of being able to serve for another year. So let's not delay them anymore. We'll get into this. Tonight, we're going to be voting on our officers and the committee chairs. These are for next year, 2026. The terms run from January 1st through December 31st of next year. I will say on a personal note, I've really enjoyed all my roles working with the NPU over the past year. But unfortunately, my personal situation has changed, and I'm not going to be able to run again for next year for a leadership role in 2026. So normally I would recuse myself from conducting the elections if I was running for an office. But given that I'm not in this case, I really don't see a conflict of interest in if I facilitate the elections going forward. So just to make sure give everyone an opportunity if they object to me running the election, maybe we could start. Could I have a motion to allow Tom Schwab, myself, to conduct the elections?
I
So
move
moved.
to have Tom Schwab conduct the election.
Thank you. Was that Kay and Wiley? Did I hear you in there?
Yep.
All righty. Is anyone opposed to me conducting the elections, given that I'm not running? All right. Seeing no hands, the motion carries without objections. I'll kind of facilitate this next part. Okay, so we've already had several folks that we've worked with who have graciously agreed to either run for the first time or to be incumbents that are running again. I am sharing a list of those folks in the chat right now. So if you go to the chat window, you should see a list of the current tentative candidates. So what I propose is we proceed as follows. I'll read through this list of all the positions and all the folks that we've so far identified as potential candidates. I'll then open the floor up to any additional nominations for any of the roles after I complete the list in its entirety. All right. So if you want to nominate, you're welcome to do so. Just raise your hand, and we'll put you in as another candidate on one of those positions. So in the event that there are nominations from the floor and we have multiple candidates for a given position, I'll then ask each of the two or more candidates to just take a quick minute and just talk a little bit about, introduce themselves and why they're a good fit for that role. We'll open it up to any additional questions from the field, and then after that, we'll vote on that particular election. Again, assuming we have multiple positions with multiple candidates, we'll go through, repeat that process. And then when we're left with just roles where we only have one candidate identified, in other words, people running unopposed, I propose that we group those together and take a single vote, similar to what we just did on the consent agenda. All right. So let me start by going to that document that I just put in the chat and read our current proposals for officers. And I'm just letting some folks back in the waiting room. Okay, so for the chair, of course, we have our beloved Debbie Shopchinsky as our existing chair. Will be running for next year. The vice chair role is currently open. We do not have anyone currently slated for the vice chair role for next year, so please give that one some serious consideration. For the secretary, Catherine King is the incumbent, and she has graciously agreed to run again. For alcohol licenses, Ryan Howard up in the Morningside Lenox Park neighborhood has agreed to run as a licensed alcohol chair. Communications, Marla Johnson has agreed to serve another year. Education, Jason Holmes, also an incumbent. Parks, Trees, and Environment Chair, Rich Sussman, of course, from Lidridge Martin Manor. Public Safety. So existing Susan has been a co-chair of that. So Susan Canellis is running again, and her co-chair will be Phyllis Wingo also from I'm brain dead. Lenox Park, Morningside Lenox Park. Thank you, Phyllis, for agreeing to run with Susan. And then for zoning and economic development, Katie DeWeese rather, is going to run in addition to her existing role as the APAB representative. So Katie wants to do some double duty. So those are the folks that have already self-nominated. So with that, let me open up to the floor. Are there any other recommendations, any other nominations for others that would like to run for an NPU, either officer or committee chair or APAB rep for next year? If you'd like to nominate yourself, I suppose you can nominate somebody else, assuming they're also here and eligible and they acknowledge and accept the nomination. You can do that as well. Just raise your hand. Folks, you're going to have to slow down. I can't keep all these names coming in this fast. All right, so I'm not seeing any hands from the field. No new additional nominations. That vice chair role, pretty sure you could get a shoe in. No? Okay, folks. So I'm not seeing any nominations from the floor. Are there any questions for any of the existing proposed candidates that anyone would like to ask before we take it to a vote? If you have a question for one of the existing nominations, raise your hand, please. Boy, you're a quiet bunch tonight. I'm not seeing any questions either. Okay, so again, real quick, officers, we got Debbie as the chair, Catherine King as the secretary, alcohol licenses, Ryan Howard, communication, Marla Johnson, education, Jason Holmes, parks, trees, and environment, Rich Sussman, public safety, Susan Canellis, Phyllis Wingo, Zoning and Economic Development, Katie DeWeeves. APAB Rep, Katie DeWeeves. That is the slate of candidates we're looking to vote in. Can I have a motion to vote that slate of candidates into office for 2026?
So moved, Tom.
All right, thank you,
second.
Wiley. Is there a second to that motion?
Kay, I'll second.
Thank you, Kay. Any discussion on that motion? Okay, a motion has been made and properly seconded. All in favor of the motion to elect that candidate slate into office for 2026, please raise your hand now. Okay, looks like things are leveling off at, oh, still climbing a little bit. All right, I've got 13 ayes. I will lower your hands. Any opposed to electing that slate of individuals to the position stated? If you're opposed, please raise your hand. Okay, seeing none, by a vote of 13-0, the motion carries, and the slate of officers, committee chairs, and APB reps are official for next year. Thank you, folks. I really appreciate everyone. Congratulations, and we appreciate your service. Those of you that have served in the past, we very much appreciate it, and we look forward to having a few new people on the team as well. And the best of luck to you going forward. Okay, there we go. Let's move on to other matters of voting. We covered quite a few on the consent agenda, but we'll start off with our Mayor's Office of Special Events. We removed the 404 day from the agenda. Is anyone here? Has anyone shown up for 404? Randall Fox? Still not here. Okay. Can I have a motion to defer?
So moved.
Thank you,
Second.
Kay. Can I have a second?
Richard,
All right, thank you, Rich. All right. Is there anyone opposed to the motion to defer 404 day to next month? All right. Seeing none, the motion carries without opposition. 404 day is deferred. Okay, let's see. All of our variances to BZA went through, so we're in good shape there. Which takes us up to, let's see, Wiley, we've got a couple other, not variances, but zoning review board issues. You want to run through those for us?
Tom, did I miss the Juneteenth discussion?
Yeah.
Oh, you know what, Kay? You are
Oh,
right.
boy.
I'm sorry. I appreciate you keeping me on my toes. So as Kay pointed out, we have one more special event for voting. It did not qualify for the consent agenda. This is Juneteenth, Atlanta Parade and Music Fest. Those of you that may be having deja vu, we did approve Juneteenth last month, but that was for the outdoor festival permit. They also have a gated event permit, which is a separate application. So that's what we're here to hear tonight, the gated event application. Again, this wants to be June 19th through 21st of next year. It's in Piedmont Park. So is the rep from at Juneteenth Atlanta Parade and Music Fest here? Either Tim Sweetwood, Brad Lewis, Bob Johnson? Anyone from Juneteenth? Going once, going twice. Okay, can I have a motion to defer?
motion, this is Marla.
Is that Marla? Thank you,
Yes.
Marla. Is there a second to the motion to defer?
I'll second.
Thank you, Kay. Anyone opposed? Only looking for opposition to the motion to defer. Seeing none, the motion carries without objection. A Juneteenth Atlanta Parade, the gated event, is deferred to December. Okay, thank you, Kay. I appreciate you keeping me honest there. Okay, folks. So Wiley, we have a couple of zoning review board issues. You want to take those?
Okay, sure thing. So the first one, U2531, the applicant seeks a special use permit to operate a half-day preschool and summer camp. This is in Virginia Highland. I understand that Kevin is not yet here, but maybe. So in the interim, would the applicant please give us a rundown on what your plans are and the need for a special exception? I understand the applicant was going to be here. Is the applicant seeking the, okay, you are here.
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. Yes. So if you would please give us a rundown on what you're asking for, and we'll take it from there.
Absolutely. Thank you. I'm here representing International Preschools. We are a parents' morning out and preschool program seeking a special use permit at the Virginia Highland Church. We are a small operation. We operate for a half day, just 4 hours per day, from 9 o'clock to 1 o'clock. We offer an educational program for children ages 1 to 5 years old with part-time options for parents who want to introduce their children to a school setting in a gentle way by attending as little as 2 days per week. We have a staff of 8 dedicated and loving employees, some of whom have been with us for 20 years and have been working with children for over 30 years. We have approximately 30 families currently. Our curriculum provides hands-on learning with an emphasis on music, movement, art, nature, and making learning fun. We foster social and emotional learning, helping students learn important social skills, make healthy choices, learn to treat others with kindness and respect. We also have a strong connection with our community and helping our kids learn about the importance of working within our communities. We've been in the Virginia Highland Morningside neighborhood for 20 years, and we've seen a lot of other small neighborhood schools like us closing. So we are working hard to remain in the neighborhood for these families that we've served for about 20 years. We hope to continue to be a familiar face in the neighborhood.
So this is seeking to continue your current operations?
Yes, in the Virginia Highland Church.
Right. Okay.
And Wiley, I don't know if Kevin's joined us yet. He did write to me before this meeting, said he was going to be a little bit late, and he wanted us to know that Virginia Highland Planning Committee and Board has approved this special permit as well. So we've got Virginia Highland approval.
Okay, great. The only thing I would say before is I know that the neighbors around that church have consistent problems with people parking, dropping off and picking up, and blocking driveways and parking too close to stop signs and so forth. I would hope you would encourage your member families to respect the neighborhood that they're in with regard to their parking.
Absolutely. We're in close communication with our families and being very clear about what's the allowed areas for them to park and making sure that we keep the neighborhood safe for everybody.
Thank you.
Wiley, Mark, Megan, why the need for special use permit? Are you moving to a new location? Is that what's happening? Or are you already operating there and all of a sudden you need a special use permit?
Based on the way the church itself is zoned, the city requires that we pursue a special use permit to be there.
But have you been there already in same location?
Yes, so we actually originally operated in that church about, I think about 20 years ago, up until about 10 years ago. We moved out for a portion of time, moved over to Amsterdam Walk. We're back at the church now. And so the city is asking us to apply for this.
Okay, I just had an understanding of, you've been doing this for such a long time, now you're doing it. If you were at the same location, obviously you would have needed a special use permit. I just didn't understand the transition. Okay, thank you.
Of course.
All right. Well, Tom, do you want to make a motion in Kevin's
Yeah,
place?
I mean, so based on the Virginia Highlands report, which recommending approval, again, I would make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
All right, it's moved and seconded to approve. Any discussion on the motion? Okay, let's vote then. All those in favor of approving the special use exception, please raise your hand.
Okay, looks like we're leveling off at
9, 12, 15,
16.
16.
Yeah, I'm counting 16, Wiley. I'll
16.
lower the hands. Any opposed? Okay, Wiley, I'm not seeing any opposed.
13-0.
I've got 16, Wiley. I got
16. I'm sorry.
No
16-0. I was thinking of the other one.
Oh,
All right,
okay,
so the next
motion
one
carries 16-0. U-2531 is moving on with a recommendation for approval.
Thank you.
Thank you, Megan. Appreciate you being here.
Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
All righty. All right, Wiley, we've got one more. This is a rezoning.
One more.
You want to run us through that?
This is a rezone for an existing property from RG3 general multifamily to MR3 up to 8-story zero-line multifamily dwelling zoning designation to convert an existing 22-unit rental townhome development to a 22-unit owner-occupied townhome development. This is on Lenox Road, just before Cheshire Bridge. So this is in Linders Martin Manor. Is the developer here to talk about what they want to do and why they want to do it?
Yes, I am.
I can give us a rundown on what your situation is and
so
why we should support this.
Yeah, Wiley, can I jump in for a minute if you don't mind?
Oh, sure.
Yeah. So I know there's been a lot of correspondence on this one in advance of this meeting. So there had been talk about potentially deferring tonight in advance based on the fact that things didn't go according to plan with the Linders Martin Manor meeting last night, right? So Rich, you're still on with us, right? Where are you? There you are. Okay, finding you on my screen here. So I guess before we get into potentially hearing the application tonight, I'm trying to determine if there is an appetite to defer or whether the right thing to do is to hear the application tonight. So, Rich, you had mentioned that the applicant, by a simple mistake, oversight, I think was the word in the correspondence I saw, didn't show up at the meeting last night, correct? Okay. And so, Rich, if you don't mind, yeah, there you go. Thank you.
Okay.
So the applicant wasn't there, and I guess I'm trying to get read the temperature of Lindridge Martin Manor. Is the desire that Lindridge Martin Manor would like another month to review this, or was the feeling that you had enough?
All right, so
information?
Mr. Buckley and I met on site a month and a half ago or so. I can't remember the date. And I apprised Mr. Buckley of the procedure, told him that we wanted him to come to the Leonard Smart Manor meeting. We finally got a date for that. The notice was sent out, also the notice for the NPU, which would be the following evening. The other applicants that evening showed up. Mr. Buckley did not show up. Why? I can't tell you why. He can tell you why. Our next meeting will be in 3 months. If you can wait for 3 months, that's fine, because the board meets every 3 months. So I don't know how, what your timeline is in trying to resolve this matter. I don't know what your date is as far as going to the ZRB. We just felt, the board felt that you weren't there, so it was sort of like the other applicants were there, but you weren't there. So we couldn't really support you at the time.
So Rich, when you say 3 months, you're talking mid-February?
Mid-February. It's our next board meeting is in mid-February. Now, if the applicant really wants this resolved quickly, I could try and get the board together for a special Zoom meeting, telephone call prior to that. I doubt if it's going to be before January 1st, though. The holidays coming. So it's Mr. Buckley, I'd like you to first explain what you're doing there. I think it's fine. I cannot speak for the entire board. The board is the body for Lyndhurst Smart Manor to make that decision. If you think that you can wait for another 6 weeks or so, we'll try and get the board together in early January. That's about prior to the January NPU meeting. I'm not promising anything, but I could try and do that.
Hi, I'm Harold Buckley. I'm here for Jack Built Homes. And it is correct that I was not at the neighborhood association meeting yesterday evening. I had an issue with the technology in my office, and the meeting just did not appear on my calendar. And I did not realize that until this morning when I got the reminder for NPU-F, and I realized that the neighborhood meeting was the day before. So that's why I missed the neighborhood association meeting. I think 3 months would be really difficult for us to wait. If we could do something in January, I do understand that, the procedure is for us to meet with the neighborhood association. But an entire quarter of a year, I think, might be a little long for us to be able to wait for a meeting.
Would you be amenable for us to meet prior to the January NPU meeting?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I will keep you informed. My recommendation then would be to defer this matter, as long as you're okay about deferring this matter, to the January NPU meeting. Again, I think it'd be a little difficult for everybody to get together for December because people are going on vacation and all sorts of crazy stuff.
Yeah. Okay. And so Rich,
yeah,
from your perspective, Rich, the primary reason for the previous denial vote was due to the lack of attendance of the applicant, not
right.
necessarily
And
the votes.
at the time, I also had, told Mr. Buckley that informed the neighbors around there. So the board did not have the opportunity to find out from the neighbors, the direct neighbors across on both sides, whether there was any discussion. People thought it was a good idea, a bad idea. So we really didn't have the full picture at the time. We couldn't really make an informed decision.
Okay. So it sounds like we've got a proposal. Before we get into the specifics of the deferral, I just want to make sure that we understand the puts and takes of what could happen here of the situation, right? So we're all on the same page. So we're proposing that, Rich, you could assemble the Leonard Smart Manor board sometime before the third Wednesday in January, which is
That's
when
correct.
NPU-F would meet, right? That would
That's
be,
correct.
I can pull that date up. That would be, I think our next meeting would be January 21st would be the NPU meeting, which means that the zoning review board would occur in February, right?
I don't know when the ZRB.
Yeah, it would be the next month.
Yeah.
So the challenge here, of course, is that this particular rezoning application is already scheduled for the ZRB on December 4th. So we've got the challenge of getting this off of that calendar, right? And normally, if we had taken care of this in advance of the meeting, no fuss, no muss, we can handle a deferral. But at this point, we need some assurances that it will in fact get deferred off of the zoning review board calendar, because if it doesn't, this is, and we defer it, essentially the NPU and Lyndhurst Martin Manor essentially forfeit. It'll go up to
Correct.
the board as no opinion. So we don't want that, obviously. So I think the way we can handle this tonight is I know Doug Young, you're with us. You're documenting all this for the planner's report. So Mr. Buckley, I want to make sure we're clear. For the record, are you requesting a deferral of NPU to hear this on January 1st and a subsequent zoning review board meeting in February of 2026?
Well, I had one suggestion that I proposed earlier today by email, just to minimize the length of the delay, because we're talking about either a February or a March ZRB hearing. And my request was, or suggestion was, whether the NPU could defer this to the Linridge Martin Manor board and allow that vote to represent the position of the NPU.
No.
No.
Okay.
I'll answer that one. No, I think, and don't get me wrong, the NPU, there's a high correlation of the NPU vote following the local neighborhoods vote, right? Because ultimately we are an amalgamation of the neighborhoods. So it's highly unusual for our votes to not coincide. However, the city recognizes the NPU vote. They do not recognize Linridge Martin Manor's vote. We asked for it as the NPU. We want that. But the city's only going to recognize our vote. So our vote has to come from this body, the whole body, including all the neighborhoods. Again, we're going to rely heavily on Linridge Martin Manor's recommendation and follow their vote. But we cannot defer a future vote to what may happen at Linridge Martin Manor and let them speak for the rest of the NPU. The NPU vote has to come from the entire body of the NPU, including after we've achieved quorum and we have multiple neighborhoods represented. So I appreciate the fact you're thinking of creative ways to help with this, but that solution wouldn't work.
I think then my request would be to go ahead and go forward with a recommendation of denial from the NPU.
Okay.
And so that means you would go to the ZRB with the NPU saying denied.
Yes, sir.
Correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And again, I know you mentioned March for the ZRB. I think I'm fairly confident we could get the ZRB moved to February, not March, but still same basic, same issue, just a month earlier.
So several months.
Okay. So with that, given that we have an existing recommendation from denial and Wiley, I'm sorry if I stole the thunder from you here. You're okay?
Absolutely.
I had a feeling you wouldn't mind if I
Not a bit.
hopped on my soapbox for this
You
one.
have all the details on this, so yeah. No, absolutely.
Okay, so I apologize if I'm manhandling the meeting here, but
you got it.
All right, so we've got a recommendation from Lyndhurst Martin Manor due to technicalities for denial. The applicant, given the timing of this discussion, would prefer a recommendation of denial over a postponement of the ZRB to February. So with that, do we have a motion to deny Z2566?
So moved. Denied.
Thank you, Rich. Is there a second to that motion?
Bill Compton, second.
Thank you, Bill. Any discussion on this motion? Seeing none, we will take it to a vote. All those in favor of denial of Z2566, please raise your hand.
You did not?
All righty, looks like we're leveling off here at 14. Nope, we lost one. We're going with 13 ayes. I'm lowering your hands. Any opposed to the motion to deny? Any opposal to the motion to deny? Raise your hand, please. Okay, seeing none, the motion carries. NPU-F is recommending denial of Z2566. Okay, Mr. Buckley, I appreciate you being here tonight.
Thank you so much. And again, I wanted to extend an apology to Lynn Ridge Martin Manor. It was a technological glitch that caused me not to make their meeting last night, but I meant absolutely no disrespect.
Okay, thank.
All
Maybe
right,
you
thank
can blame it on AI.
The Terminator is going to take over the
Thank
world
you.
soon.
Okay.
Yeah.
you.
All right, Mr. Buckley. Well, we appreciate you being here tonight, and we appreciate you, candid, open discussion, and best of luck to you. But we will pass on that recommendation to the city. Okay. Okay, that concludes our matters for voting. But we do have a couple other matters for review and comment. So one of them is an alcohol license. It's for a company. I'm probably going to butcher the name of this, but I think it's Badawalia. So this is I think an arm of Chai Pani. It's an open air cafe. It operates out of Pond City Market. So the reason we NPU-F are not voting on this is, of course, Pond City Market sits within NPU-M's territory, but it's within 300 feet. So we get the opportunity to comment on this particular application. Again, so it's an existing restaurant, by the way, open air cafe. All they're doing is changing the agent. Haven't heard of any issues or any problems. There's a lot of similar type restaurants, of course, in Pond City Market. So, as the alcohol chair, I don't have any negative feedback or comments on this. I would defer to NPU-M's recommendation. Is there any comments from the larger NPU body that anyone would like to make about this application? If there are, just raise your hand. Okay, I'm not seeing any, so we will pass along the fact that there's no objections from NPU-F, and we will defer to NPU-M's recommendation for this. Okay, we have one other zoning issue that is for comment only. Wiley, do you want to run us through Z2571?
Actually, I can read it, but I have no clue what it's about.
I did a little bit of digging into this one, not a lot. I mean, it's basically a bunch of the council members have put this ordinance through to update the legislation. I think the big change is having push buttons on all of the doors at the street level. And I know, Doug, you're with us. Do you have anything you can share on this ordinance, why it's needed, anything like that, the background?
Good evening, everybody. Doug Young, NPU-F planner, also director of the Office of Design Department of City Planning. As many of you might know, there are several zoning categories in the city of Atlanta that require pedestrian entrances to and from the when the entrance is required to have a pedestrian entrance on the street, and but there's no requirement about how that door might be activated. So it's really adding to the requirement about pedestrian accessibility.
Okay, so the requirement essentially exists. It's just clarifying the nature of the button, where it should be, etc. Is that?
Well, no, the requirement is that you have to have in certain zoning categories, pedestrian entrance facing the street, but it doesn't say how the door gets operated.
Okay.
So there's no requirement there about how the door operates. This would be adding that requirement.
I see. And this is on all establishments except single family structures and two family structures. Is that what I read? I think.
And that was in the summary, yes.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. And I guess the only question I had was, are our existing establishments grandfathered in on this? So if I have a coffee shop that opens up on the street, do I need to insert a push button retroactively, or is it just for new approvals, new zonings, new permits, that kind of thing?
Typically, it's for new projects, unless there's a specific clause that makes it retroactive.
Okay.
So let's see.
And this is Doug, and this is for accessibility. So this would be a push button automatic door opener for handicapped access or disabled access, or is this a push button to let them know you're there, or a push button lock that unlocks it? What does push button mean? What are you activating when you push the button? The door, an alarm? What are you activating?
Yeah. If I could respond, can you all hear me?
Yeah, Doug, we can hear you.
Yeah. All right. Sorry, I was trying to wait for the question to be finished. I can just say what the words say. I don't have any more detail on the technology. I would venture to say that given one of the people who sponsored the legislation, it's regarding appropriate handicap access.
Yeah, I interpreted it as a button that actually opens the door.
Yes.
Activates a mechanical device to open the door. But I'm far from an expert on it. But that was my interpretation after reading a little bit of it, Wiley.
All right. Well,
so again, we're not voting on this. This is up for recommendations or comments from NPU-F. So are there any official comments that anyone would like to be in the record?
Other than your earlier question, Tom, about undue burden on existing small business.
Right. Kay, did you have a question or comment?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I would just say that, in the interest of making businesses accessible to everyone, I would have to support this.
Okay.
I don't really see how it's going to be a huge burden to do the wiring to open the door and put the button there. And, to make it really difficult for someone in a wheelchair to get in and out of buildings. We've been trying to fix those kind of issues for decades. So this just seems like reasonable requirement to me.
Okay. Thanks, Kay. Appreciate that. I'll jot a note down to that effect. Rich, did you have something you wanted to add?
Not on this one, but on something that we looked at last month about requiring or prohibiting razor wire or fences. Do you know if the council followed up on that?
Well, I passed on our recommendation as to, we recommended denial. That was something we actually voted on. And I stated all the reasons that were discussed in this meeting. I tried to summarize those.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I passed along that feedback in a, concise manner. But what's happened with the ordinance, I do not know.
Okay.
I don't know, Doug, if you know anything about that or have any updates.
I do not, but I can certainly find out.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. So I guess on this the current ordinance, again, it sounds like we have some support for it. And I think I agree that it's good for help folks that may need assistance opening the door. But I guess I would like to know, is it retroactive or not is the question, or is it just for new legislation? All right, so I'll jot those comments down. Any other thoughts or comments on this one? Okay. All right, great. Well, then we will move on. Agenda item number 8 is presentations, but we don't have anything scheduled for tonight, which brings us to number 9, the planner's report. Doug, what would you like to share with us?
Yeah, so I might have been suffering from Mr. Buckley's phenomenon. I do not have our planner's report text from our NPU team. I'll double check one more location where I can find that. But for timing, if I could just pass on that, and I'll let you know if I do find it in a different location.
Okay, great. Just give me a little hand wave there and we'll
pull
you back in if you got something, Doug. Okay, so with there, we'll move on to our neighborhood and community reports. Why don't we start with Limerick Martin Manor? Rich, anything?
Yeah. Okay. So our Christmas party will be held on December 6th, 3 p.m. It's a Sunday at the corner of Pembroke Place and Cordova Drive. Early enough so so most people can go there, particularly older people have to get to bed early. Okay.
Milk and cookies. I gotcha. December
Milk and
6th.
cookies and maybe some more.
And is that just for Linridge Martin Manor residents,
Oh,
or is
you can
that?
come too, Tom.
I'm not wearing the elf suit this year, though. You're not going to trick me
We
again.
understand that Santa Claus will be making an appearance. You don't have to dress up as Santa Claus.
Well, Rich, unfortunately, I've been naughty this past year, so I don't
Well,
want any
don't
more
come then.
coal. All right. How about Piedmont Heights? I know Bill's with us. Or
Bill
Susan?
is actually out of town, so you're going to have to
Oh, all right, Susan. Well, that's
put up with
okay. We'd
me.
rather have
Lots
you.
of good stuff happening in Piedmont Heights. We had a cleanup. Pie High Alliance, our business group, got together with Linridge Martin Manor and had a cleanup. I was not there, so I'm going to look at the notes. 35 volunteers, and they with the help of Sea League, they hosted the meetup, and Nakado provided setup and support. Um, Stacy's Pharmacy hauled all the bags away, and Keep Atlanta Beautiful let them lent all the safety vests, grabbers, gloves, and trash bags. So good job again. And we are kicking off Shop Small, Buy Local, which is starting next Monday in Linwood Martin Manor, Morningside, all in Piedmont Heights, trying to encourage people to save money and support local businesses. Those are the two biggies that I have until we get to public safety.
Excellent. All right. Thank you, Susan. All right. How about Morningside, Lenox Park? I almost forgot the neighborhood's name earlier, Marla. You going to forgive me for that?
Of course. You can forget us altogether. We
how quickly we move on. All right. What do you
yes.
got for us?
We wanted to thank Piedmont Heights Alliance for organizing the Cheshire Bridge cleanup. We had some neighbors there too, myself included, and we cleaned up a lot of trash in a short amount of time. So we thank them for all of their efforts. And we had our annual meeting on November 10th on the most frigid night of the year. But we had some neighbors show up and brave the cold, and we heard from several elected officials, Fulton County Commissioner, DeKalb County Commissioner, Alex was there, Matt Westmoreland was there. I'm probably gonna forget somebody. But we do have a new board, and they will start January. But actually, they're new. We have two new board members, and thankfully everyone else is returning.
Same president as last year?
Yeah, no one volunteered.
They couldn't vote that one out?
No, couldn't
That
pay
was no
anybody or
good.
anything.
Mm.
So yes, it'll be me again. And Phyllis will be on, and David will stay on. So I'm glad to have the crew returning, and excited for our new board members to start in January.
Excellent. Excellent. Wow. Well, in the nick of time, Mr. Cronin has just joined us literally seconds before the Virginia Highland Neighborhood Committee report. Kevin, what do you got for us?
Hello. So we already voted on consent agenda, correct?
Oh, Kevin, we're flying tonight. We're wrapping things
Okay.
up.
So we have a special use permit for Virginia Highland Church that our planning committee reviewed and the board reviewed and supported 100%. And I know we were going to have a presentation of that tonight since that wasn't part of our consent agenda procedures. So if we can have that presentation, be great.
Kevin, my friend, already done, already approved.
Oh.
It's in the record books.
Oh, excellent.
We are moving tonight. We're
so this is just a report from Virginia Highlands.
Exactly. Yeah, we just want to know what you guys got going on there.
We would love for anybody that is not bought a ticket, if you want to volunteer for our home tour, which is December 13th and 14th, and you'll then get a free ticket to be able to go. We are partnering with Virginia Highland District, so we will have a Winterfest on Saturday, and the home tour is both days on Saturday and Sunday, and we're thrilled that Morningside also has a home and the home tour as well, so we appreciate that partnership and great neighbors being across our nearby neighborhood. And we have locked in our dates too for Summerfest. It will be the first weekend in June, which I think is June 6th and 7th, that Saturday, Sunday. Some more details to come with that.
Kevin, you think it will be a two-day event again this year?
Yes, it will
Okay.
be. But hopefully we'll see y'all for the home tour. And I know Murphy's is doing their tree lighting. I believe it's December 4th, that first Thursday. So that's always a fun neighborhood event. So if you're out and about and want to do something fun for the holidays, come join us over for the Murphy's tree lighting.
Excellent. All right. Thank you, Kevin. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Anyone on from Edmond Park or Emory, CDC, Druid Hills? Neither? Okay, we'll skip those. Let us move on to our NPU committees. Why don't we start out with Rich again? Parks, Trees, and Environment.
It's winter time, so it's tree planting time. Trees Atlanta makes trees available through its neighborhood program. So if you need a tree planted in your front yard, contact the neighborhoods program at Trees Atlanta.
Well, they do that for free? That's still
Yes.
Wow, that's great. And
Yeah.
they limit the number of species, right? There's like 3 or 4
I think
species.
there's 5 or 6 species that are available.
Okay.
They're all good, and they
They
will
all-
take care of the tree for 2 years.
Nice. They don't break up the side. Yeah, I did some volunteer work. It's a great program. In fact, there's a huge tree in front of my house that they planted decades ago when I moved in. So yeah, it's still going strong. Great program. All right. Is Jason with us? Jason Holmes, Education? No, okay. How about communications, Marla?
I sent hundreds of re-verification emails. I got a little behind, but I didn't get hundreds behind. It was because it was the whole Amsterdam walk time period where we had hundreds of neighbors register to vote. So everyone got a re-verification email, and hundreds did not respond, but that's great. Less work for me. I'm pretty much caught up on those for now.
And so, Marla, I'm assuming I don't get my free dinner at a local restaurant now.
No, it's gone. The offer's off the table. I'll email you separately.
You called that one. You called that one correctly. All right. Thank you, Marla. All right. Public safety. How about our co-chairs? Kay or Susan?
I'll let Kay go first.
Okay, well, I'm going to let you talk about our tour, Susan, if you'd like, but I wanted to let everyone.
You talk about the tour. I have other things to talk about, so you do the tour.
Okay, well, Susan very helpfully organized a tour of the Public Safety Training Center for the team leads, the safety leads for the neighborhoods in the NPU and in Zone 6, and then we had some extra spaces, so a few other folks joined. It was actually a really interesting, enlightening tour. We got to go to the horse barn and meet the horses and all that sort of thing. We got to watch the firemen trying to put a 30-foot ladder up against a building. That was pretty entertaining. We learned that in addition to police and fire training there, they actually have a special parking lot that they've built that's about 9 inches of concrete that allows the guys who drive the heavy equipment, the trash trucks and all that sort of thing in the city to learn how to actually maneuver that equipment. So that's encouraging to know that there's actually training that happens around that. We met some recruits who had literally been there for 2 days and were still reading the handbook. And we got to see what some people, not myself, but some people have called Cop City, which I have described as 4 buildings that are roughly the size of a small cabin in a state park. It's not exactly a city. These are small buildings that they can reconfigure with plywood doors and walls and that sort of thing, so that, for example, they can make it look like a convenience store, so that the recruits can learn, if they know there's an active shooter in the convenience store, how do you safely go in and address that situation and protect customers that might be in there and protect themselves, and so they can learn how to clear a building and so forth. So it really was fascinating. They are eager to lead tours. So if there are folks that would like to have that experience and go down and see what it's all about, what we've all been reading about in the newspapers for the last couple of years, get in touch with me or Susan or Phyllis, and we will reach out and get something scheduled to take another group down there, because I really think it's meaningful and worthwhile to see what happens there. The other thing I wanted to mention is that once again, we're doing the toy drive for Zone 6 for children who otherwise would not have much of a Christmas. We have someone new in Virginia Highland who is collecting the toys, and I will put her information in the chat so that you can know. It's Jackie Brown's home over on Ponce Place. We're also looking into maybe finding a couple of locations in the neighborhood in businesses. You also can actually order toys online from Amazon and have them delivered directly to the zone. So I will put that information in the chat as well. And then Phyllis, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe in Morningside, you're collecting toys at your home or your address as well. Is that correct?
That is correct. And I can put my address in the chat as well.
Okay. And what we're looking for is new unwrapped toys for children age 12 and under, and we need to have them by December 7th. So anytime from now through December 7th, if you could please be generous. Our neighborhoods typically make up a significant amount of the toys that they have available to give out to children. And that's all I've got.
All right. Thanks, Kay. How about Susan?
Speaking of generosity, I'll start with Fire Station 29. Once again, we have solicited donations of food or money to feed the firefighters there on Wednesday, Thanksgiving Day, and Friday. And the response between Linridge, Martin Manor, Morningside, and Piedmont Heights has just been overwhelming. It's been wonderful. Zone 2, this is the 11th year that we have put together a holiday something for the zone. And this year, instead of Chick-fil-A cards, we have decided to go with generic American Express cards. And we have purchased 142 $25 gift cards. And we have raised about $6,000 this year, which every year we seem to raise more. So we're considering upping the ante next year and going for $50 per officer or staff. 25 it's nice, but 50 would really make a statement. So I'm just overwhelmed, and I love doing this because it makes me feel so good that people are so generous and so appreciative of our firefighters and our police officers. And I think that's all I've got. Great job with describing the public safety tour, Kay. Thank you.
And Kay, those banners look great in Virginia Highlands, the safety banners. Like, yeah.
Oh, well, thanks to the NPU for that, because that actually came about through a community impact grant.
Right, I remember that one, but yeah,
Yeah,
they
we have
turned out
safety
well.
banners, and we also have a large Clean Car Campaign banners that are going to be going up in several of our parking lots.
Great. Okay, so Wiley, I know I stole some of your 15 minutes of fame. Anything else you want to recap here to steal it back?
No, other than to say I really enjoyed the last year, and I'm really happy for Katie to take over.
Well, you're not escaping yet. You got one more meeting yet, right? You got the Christmas meeting. All right, we'll see you in December. Well, that brings up Katie. What would you like to share, Katie? Katie, anything on APAB? You're muted, by the way. No? All right, we'll move on. All right,
No,
so the only thing
sorry.
I would say is kind of
Good.
similar to what Wiley was mentioning. You know, I want to say congratulations to everyone that was elected for next year. I really appreciate everybody's support over the past year and going forward. So, I may not be in a leadership role with the NPU next year, but I'm definitely going to be around, and I'm looking to look for ways to help, just not on a regular, consistent basis. And so if I can, I've learned a lot over the past year. So if I can be of assistance to anybody, any of the new officers, regardless of what area you're in, I'm more than happy to do so. I'm just a phone call or a text away. So feel free to reach out to me. Okay. With that, any old business anyone would like to bring up? Any new business? All right, folks, item 13. Wow, I'm getting better and better at this. 8:49. We are getting fast. Can I have a motion to
Bravo.
adjourn? I didn't even ask the question yet. Kay, are you making a motion to adjourn? Is that what I heard?
Absolutely. So moved.
Second?
Second from Susan in Piedmont Heights.
Thank you, Susan in Piedmont Heights. All right, any objection to the motion?
No way.
Seeing none, the motion carries, folks. We are adjourned at 8:49. Under 2 hours. Come on, that's not so bad.
That's all right, Tom. Good
That's
job.
with a
All
leg.
right, folks.
Thanks,
All right.
everybody.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you,
Appreciate
Jenny.
everybody's time.
All right.
All right, good night. Take care. Save your chats. Save your chats.